Good morning and thanks for coming. My name is Joao Ventura. You can barely see it unfortunately here. Looks a lot better on my side here of the screen. I'm from Portugal, but I've been living in Germany many years. In the beginning working in Munich and now here in nearby Heidelberg in the lovely city called Darmstadt. I usually attend the Rhine-Main user group in Frankfurt, so if any of you are in the region, please feel free to join us there. So the topic of this talk today is integrating Drupal and Shopify. We did a very simple project for a client where we were evaluating some solutions for e-commerce on Drupal. So a bit of history. There's Ubercart, that all of us that were working with Drupal 5 and 6, fun times. It was basically the de facto e-commerce solution. If you wanted to do a e-commerce shopping cart, you were going to use Ubercart. It was maintained by someone in Drupal 7, and I found out the other day also in Drupal 8. I don't know why. It's still in Drupal 8, but apparently there's a business case for that. Then there's Drupal Commerce, which everyone uses, and it's clearly the best solution for Drupal 7 and Drupal 8. And then Acquia a few months ago came out with this Acquia plus Magento partnership, where they are promoting Magento as Magento integration with Drupal sites as a e-commerce solution, which is possible because Drupal is amazing and can integrate with anything. Not necessarily you'd want it to do that. So we've got something here which is more or less the one of those famous Gartner Magic Quadrants, where the one we usually see is the one for Drupal, which says, yeah, Drupal is somewhere over there, very good, and lots of future. In this case, this is for the digital commerce one. So we've got here the famous Magento. You have Salesforce that a lot of people also know. There's some Oracle e-commerce solutions, which I can't remember the axis anymore, but are positioned for large sites. And then you've got here Shopify in the bad corner, which says that it's not suitable for large projects, and they think it doesn't have so much of a future. However, in the real world, if you look at so this was built, I went to this trends built with .com shop that analyzes which sites exist out there. And it gave me this nice pie chart. The top 5 that you can see here is Magento plus Magento Enterprise. So you can see there Magento with 12% and Magento Enterprise with 7%. So these two combined are something like 20%. Then you've got the famous Oracle Commerce with 12% over there. WooCommerce, which maybe a lot of us don't know. Apparently it's the one for WordPress. So anyway, it's used by 10% of apparently the whole web. And then you've got Shopify with 7% over there. So yeah, even though Gartner doesn't think a lot of it, apparently the world pays a bit more attention to Shopify, or at least it's used a bit more. And then, just to complete the top 5, there's Demandware with 6%. And there, for everyone else that matters, you've got this little 1% black line over there. That's Drupal Commerce with 1%, which is okay. I mean, we know Drupal, we know that we are not taking out the major percentage of the web. We just want the ones that have money. So you've got 7% of the world running on, of the e-commerce world running on Shopify stores. And these things, and Shopify is basically software as a service. It builds a web store for you, and then you have to find somehow a way to put content other than products in something else. So a lot of people might use HTML directly. They might use a blog to write about their shop, or some of them might choose Drupal. The reason why we integrated Shopify is we have a client that we built a Drupal 8 site for club information and lead generations. They are one of the largest health club groups worldwide. They have a few hundred fitness centers here in Germany. And they have in-house know-how of how to do fitness trainer training. And these guys that are trainers of trainers, while they work only in-house, they had, because they're quite a large organization, they have enough work to organize courses periodically. But they also have a few extra space available in each course, which could be opened to third parties to come in, and well, eventually they could also become trainers for this fitness center. So they wanted to be able to have a store where you could come in and register for a course, take the course as an external, and well, simple. They want to be able to reuse the same editing experience that they have for the main site. So the solution that we wanted was we use Drupal 8 as well. We make a clone of your main site, and then we remove everything that we built for it, and we just keep the simple pages and the sort of like the theme and the appearance, so that you, and the administration part and the CEO. So the idea was we give you the same experience that you have for the main site, but really pared down, so that there's no class management, there's no club management. You don't need to put in any of the complicated stuff that we built for Drupal 8. And they wanted it simple and cost effective. And why didn't we choose Drupal Commerce for this? Drupal Commerce would have been a good solution also for what we did. The main thing is it was a small project. It's not the main business of the client. They are not in the business of selling these fitness training things. And we had like the 1 month from start to finish of the budget. And looking at Drupal Commerce, we said, well, we will have to build so much that it will be tight for the 1 month. And we can ramp up very fast if we use a shop that's already finished. So the advantages we found on Shopify, it's manages everything for you. You don't need to worry about users, you don't need to worry about payments, you don't need to worry about invoices, you don't need to worry about sales taxes, you don't need to worry about discount, coupons. So all of that they wanted out of the solution is taken care of by Shopify. And we just by ramping up the store, we had all of these. There are, of course, disadvantages. It does cost you money. There's like 3 plans from $29 to $299. They went with the middle tier plan, which is the $80 per month plan. And then they also charge you some commission on the sales, depending on the payment that gets used, and also for every sale they will charge something between 0.5% and 1%. And I think that was also the reason why they are in the middle tier, because the $29 one, you get charged a bit more per transaction than the middle tier. And there is also an enterprise version where you're no longer charged for sale by each sale, but then the quotation of the price is not even available. You need to talk with them, and it will probably be a few $1,000, in which case you might as well do Drupal Commerce. So there's a module for that, as always in Drupal. In this case, there's actually 2 modules for that. There is the Shopify API module that we used. Doesn't integrate with anything, it just adds the API. And then there's the Shopify eCommerce, which is the one that actually creates shop integration and syncs the products from Shopify to Drupal. The data model of how it works of the Shopify module is, and also the Shopify, not the module only, also the store. You've got collections, which are groups of products. So in the case of a t-shirt store, you'd have t-shirts for men, t-shirts for women, unisex t-shirts, and children t-shirts, and you'd have these 4 collections that people could visit. You have, of course, products, and then you've got variants. So variants is you've got this nice t-shirt, like the one for the camp here. Then you have it. Some people have it in blue, some people have it in red, and you've got inventory, which can be managed by Shopify. In the case of our client, there is no inventory, so we set that to 0, and then of course you have a price, which is why you even have a store in the first place. And how does the module work? So it synchronizes the products and collections from the store into your Drupal site. It runs on 2 ways. So periodically on cron, it will contact the Shopify store and pull data. And you also have the push model, which is you can set up some webhooks, and every time that you change anything in the store, Shopify will contact your site and update it immediately. Nicely for everyone that's doing Drupal 8, the Drupal endpoints are entities. So you've got the product and product variant entities. Collections are just taxonomies, as they should, because it's basically categorizing different products. The amazing thing about the product being an entity is you can do fields at will. The part where the way that we ended up doing is we kind of dropped the product entity as the main product. The main part of it was even though it's fieldable, we wanted the synchronization aspect of it to just retain what we wanted, and we felt some confusion by the editors, because they could edit the product description on Shopify side, and then this would come into Drupal, and it would be shown to them as one of the fields. And we decided we want to allow them to work as the pages as from the main site, same way. So what we ended up doing, and also mainly because of this title thing, we ended up doing a custom product content type where we could set up whatever title we wanted. And then inside that content title, we set up a block that will display the product entity from Shopify. The rest. So we decided. So the Shopify module comes with /store as a view, and we decided to display products with a custom view, nothing too fancy. We also had to do book form alter so that the quantity field could be hidden, because even though we don't track inventory, usually the idea from Shopify is you're going to buy apples and oranges, and when you press buy, you don't want to force the user, if they want to buy 2 apples, to press buy twice. You want them to be able to change the quantity. But in this case, we don't allow them that. You can only buy training once. So we did that. Nothing too special. Before we get into in-depth how it looks like, there's the Shopify edition of there's a module for that. So Shopify has extensions in their own app store. A lot of them are dealing with newsletters, social media, upsells. Upsells is I think like half the modules in that app store, or half the extensions in that app store are with upsells. So they analyze the contents of your shopping cart, and at checkout time they suggest, hey, other people that bought what you have in your cart also bought these things which you might be interested in. So the kind of stuff that we all know from Amazon. We didn't use any upsells nor email marketing. What we did have, that we did buy for this client, was a terms and conditions confirmation. So we're all in Germany. You all know when you buy something, it's not a simple matter of pressing buy and check out and pay. There's a few AGB and terms and conditions, the boxes that you need to tick. And one that I especially like is I understand that if I press buy, I am going to be charged, which apparently needs to be written down and not, but okay. So there's a box, a tick box, a checkbox for that people understand that they will be charged and that they accept the terms and conditions. So this is an extension that costs $60. We didn't even look at it. It was like, okay, instead of us wasting time trying to know how to make this, which is going to be more expensive, we just buy it. We used for a time meta fields. So meta fields are for Shopify what CCK was for Drupal. They still don't have fields, so that they have fixed fields like product title, product description, product image, product price, etc. They don't have the ability for you to add your own fields. So there's an extension which is called meta fields that adds that to Shopify. We added it in the beginning, and then we ended up not using it. a lot. This is how the App Store of Shopify looks. So you go into apps.shopify.com, and well, there's this stuff like sales pop-ups and shipping bar and whatever. Problems that we found on using Shopify. So there's no multi-language support, which is kind of annoying, being that we're working with Drupal, and one of the main advantages why clients come and ask for Drupal is we need a site that handles more than one language. Shopify itself does not. The only way that I could see of having multi-language on Shopify is that you open several stores. I don't know how you convince them to not pay multiple times the base price. What we ended up doing, so it only knows English. What we ended up doing was the client notification, so the stuff that your client sees can be modified, can be customized. The text is available for you to change, and it's got some stuff that's similar to tokens. And we bought from some guy the text in German, so we skipped the whole part of translating all of that. I think it's around $60 also, or 60 euros. You just buy it, you get a zip file full of German text, and then you just go copy paste into the places inside Shopify. And Shopify Plus, which would allow us to use checkout in the same domain. So one of the things that happens in Shopify, once you press the checkout button, you are no longer in I don't know, considering like you have a client site that's drupalstore.com. The moment you press checkout, it's no longer drupalstore.com. It's became drupalstore.myshopify.com. And if that's important for you, then you would need Shopify Plus. The good part is also you don't have any transaction fees, so you can sell as much as you want and not have to pay money to Shopify. On the other end, you are already paying them a lot per month, so certainly above $1K per month, which is a bit too much above what the client would need. In this case, probably Drupal Commerce makes a lot more sense. So how do you set up all of this? One way, you start by creating a free store. You've got like 14 days where you can play around with it. You go to shopify.com and just put your data. And you put your data, and you have a store. You'll see it just now. And then you need to install and enable the Shopify API module. So it requires you to run this composer command. This is in the module homepage also. And then you enable just the Shopify API module. Next step, you go to Shopify, you create your API credentials, and then you go to the config page of the module and copy paste the API credentials there, and then you are finally able to enable the last part of the Shopify modules. And one thing that you should do in this Drupal path, there will be a link for you to download a theme. So it creates a zip file. Your Drupal site will create a Drupal file, a Shopify theme zip file for you that you can then upload to Shopify, and that changes how the store looks in Shopify, so that it's a lot more integrated with Drupal. So one of the things it does is, if you keep the default theme of a Shopify store and you are in the checkout process, and the links to the products will link to products inside Shopify, and if you use the theme that you upload here, the links will not be to the versions in the Shopify store. They will be to your Drupal site. So there's and also even the products themselves will be redirected. Will have a redirect immediately to your store, so that there's never the duplicate content of a version in your Drupal site and a version in the Shopify store. So I think you're bored with watching me talk about this. Let's get technical. Let's show you what this is all about. So I've already ran Composer Require because the network is very slow, and I think I've already also ran Enable Shopify API. So then I can go here to my Shopify API settings, and they tell you some nice instructions here in the help on how you can get an API key. This is simply you go to the store, which I've already created. The instructions tell you click on apps on the left menu, and then on private apps on the top right of the page. So unfortunately, those instructions are slightly wrong. They're not on the top right of the page. You go down a bit below, and here there's manage private apps, then generate API credentials, and then you need to do an app name. Let's call it Drupal Shopify, and save. And now I've got here a lot of stuff. I've got API key that I can go to my settings, copy the API key. I have a password. Don't copy this. Actually, it's only valid for 14 days, so you feel free to do whatever. Shared secret, and I need also the domain, which is what did I choose? DrupalShopify.com. So yeah, good. So now it's successfully connected, or apparently already. I've enabled the API. Now I can enable the Shopify module. That was enabled successfully. So if we go to configuration, one thing that you can notice already is Shopify added a menu entry here on top. There's also the Shopify store settings, which say, well, some information about the store. Here is where you can download your theme. So this is the part where you also need to have a proper URL and not localhost. This is where you see which webhooks are registered, and that you can register new webhooks directly with Shopify. And you can sync collections and products. So if I click here, I could sync products and collections. The only thing is I haven't defined anything yet. and apparently there's an error in there if you don't have any products. So we want to create, let's go to our store, let's create a product, add a product, and we are going to have a t-shirt. We're going to have a Drupal Camp t-shirt because it's not a camp if you can't prove later with a t-shirt. Shirts that you were there. The t-shirt's going to be cheap. We're going to have 100 t-shirts, requires shipping, and it's going to weigh 1 kilo because it's very high quality.
Chain mail.
Yeah, I could add some variants. Let's add some variants. So let's have it in small. Let's have size, and the values are a small, medium, large, extra large, XXL. Let's put also XS, and they're all going to cost $10. Apparently now I've multiplied the inventory by 6. So that's saved. But I still don't have them in my Drupal site yet. But it should be a simple matter of going back to the sync products, and this time it should work. So it said sync one product. And if I view my products now, I've got a Drupal Camp t-shirt. And yeah, here it is in Drupal. It's Bartik, and as you can see, you can now choose the variant that you wanted. You can say how many you want, the price it has, and you can add it to your cart. And now it's in my cart. Problem is I forgot to add the cart. So let's go to Manage, Structure, Block Layout, and let's put the cart in the other.
Does it possible to add an image?
Yeah, we can add an image also and then sync. So now I've got the cart over there. And here is your shopping cart. As you can see, we're no longer in localhost. We're now in myshopify.com. Let's try and add an image. So let's find Drupal Camp t-shirt image. I like that one. It's Colorado. So we can save image as something, and then we can go here, add image. I could actually have added it from URL. So now I've added the image. I save. Apparently there's no. It's saved automatically. And if I go back to my configuration, Shopify store settings, sync, and this is only required that I do this manually because since I'm running on localhost, it's impossible to do the webhooks, or else it would have configured, it would have automatically synchronized by pushing. And now if I go to my products, I should have an image here. So, as you can see, it's easy and it works. And for a simple store, I like for a Drupal camp, and you want to be able to sell your T-shirts after the camp, just grab one of these stores. Unfortunately, it's going to cost you $30 per month minimum, which, unless you sell a lot of T-shirts, is hard to justify. But it's certainly a possibility, and it's for us it was very easy. The client only has 3 products, so they've got there's, I think, for fitness training there's 2 types of licenses. There's the A license and the B license, and then they also have a bundle, which is you buy A plus B. So you start as a commoner and you become a master fitness trainer. And they are selling these 3 products. They even use the variant, so you can buy the training with or without a printed manual. So if you want a book to take home, it costs you like I think €50 more. Otherwise, you just get the CD with the manual. So those 2 variants and those 3 products, we have it in their site, and they sell stuff and they're happy with it. They do changes. It synchronizes back to Drupal when they change the price. There's basically no maintenance that is required to synchronize the 2 sites. They just manage stuff that deals with products. They manage on Shopify. Stuff that is editorial content, like images of how the product looks, it's all managed in the Drupal site because of how we decided to change it. And we haven't had many complaints. It's a very low maintenance site. There were just a few questions in the beginning on exactly how this would work, but we continue doing development for them, but mostly in the main site. This one is done, delivered, and forgotten, and just works, which ended up being the objective of going with something like Shopify and not Drupal Commerce, which I'm sure we would have questions on payment gateways, and can we add the new payment gateway for Ubervising or whatever. And this is all taken care of by Shopify. And so those are my contacts. You can find me on that email, but also on Drupal.org and JC and Ventura. If anyone has further questions. Yep.
I saw that the rights and more Shopify is responsible for.
So
Or is it on my side?
the terms and conditions, there are terms and conditions from Shopify, which I think show up.
There are rights in Germany that you have to do
Yeah,
for customers.
the AGB.
Stuff.
Yeah,
There
which
are a lot of changes.
so there's I think allow me to click. I don't want to configure the block. I want to go to the cart. Sorry. Allow me. Okay. So there are. Well, in this simple example, there are no. We didn't add those. So what we did was in this site we did for the client, that we added this other module, the terms and conditions, which you must tick, and that it has a link to the terms and conditions on the Drupal site. And I think if I start trying to pay, there is also going to be, because it's a trial shop. If I try to start to pay, there will also be terms and conditions from Shopify itself regarding the privacy data that they need to have for the user handling. But in our case, the terms and conditions they were written by the client, and it's normal stuff applies, that they are entering into a contract and that they accept that they will be charged, and that there's no guarantee of because they are doing fitness training. There's also, I think from what I remember, there's no guarantee that if they do the course that our client is going to employ them, which apparently was important, and just normal stuff there. The normal thing is you would have it on your Drupal site as a normal page written by you, whatever fancy way, with nice images and collapsible fields on each question, or just a big page full of Juristen Deutsch. Yeah.
The whole checkout process is done by Shopify?
Yes.
So there's no way to synchronize data, user data, for example, from Shopify to Drupal? So if you have users registered in Drupal, so they have to register again in Shopify to do the checkout?
They will have to provide their own information. There is no idea of the user registering in the store. This is supposed to be for, well, it's not supposed that you're running Amazon on top of Shopify. I'm pretty sure that there's no way of logging in to the cart where they can reuse your data. It's data that's going to be used only for the purpose of this transaction, that you provide your payment details and your address, especially the address if there's a delivery somewhere. If it's only electronic, I think you can even make it optional. And and there's no need to synchronize data because there's nothing to synchronize.
Yeah, well, maybe I did not express myself. But if I have a content management, for example, platform in Drupal, and I have users who are registered already on my platform, and they want to buy this T-shirt, so when they do the checkout process, they have to register themselves again to Shopify. So
they have to provide
to take the data over.
No, that
Okay.
in this
so
case.
That's only the products. That's it.
Yeah.
From Shopify, nothing else.
Yeah.
That's the only API.
Yeah. Even if you have their names and their address, they have to provide it at the end again.
Okay.
And there's no. Yeah. Even if it's the first time that they register, and then you have their details, you cannot grab them from Shopify also. Yes?
I'm not sure about the main goal of this integration. Let's say a simple kind of integration is just a link. Go to my Shopify shop. If I like to present my products on my Drupal site, and there is a card that switches the customer to the Shopify site, and the customer sees these on another site, what's the benefit left?
The thing is, so for instance here I didn't upload the theme. So if I click here, it's still in Shopify. But from the point of view of the integration, it's except for the checkout process, everything will happen in your site. So you can you can change the way that your store looks like. You can list products whatever you want them like. You can use views to say, hey, I'm going to do a store, a page promoting stuff that's good for Christmas. So in the case of the t-shirt store, you could do a view, you could do some tags for the products, and this is a Christmas related t-shirt because it's got reindeers and Santa Claus and gifts and whatever, and you could then say in this page in your site, this is t-shirts for Christmas. And this is the kind of stuff that you would not simply do a link, go to my other store, or at least not without considerable effort, because you need to maintain the list of products yourself and not take advantage of Drupal to create dynamic stuff for you.
So it's mainly gaining flexibility in the presentation of your stuff. That them look like you want them to.
It's whatever you would want out of Drupal. It's you have the ability of a fully fledged content management system to show your content together with products that you don't need to worry about payment gateways and invoicing your client. You just pay something to Shopify, and you get a list of stuff that was purchased and paid for, and you take out that list, you take out the products, you go to DHL, and you put that thing in the post, and you forget about it. It's for the. Honestly, I think it's for. Maybe there's not too many. If you can afford Drupal, probably you're going to have a store that is above Shopify. On the other end, if some of you are doing a site, you're a bit more competent than the average, and you're entrepreneurs, and and you decided I'll do it in Drupal because it's the best solution, and it is the best solution for whatever you want. You might decide, but I don't want to bother with invoicing. I'm going to hire Shopify software as a service to deal with that part for me, and I will just make sure that my content is amazing.
So where do you create new products? You did it in the Shopify shop. Is it possible on Drupal side too?
No, you must create them in Shopify and then sync them back. And you can use, the thing here, so the Shopify products, they are fully fieldable, so you can either edit them on Shopify, wrong button, you can also edit them. Hold on a second. Where's the entity? Manage, structure, content types. And I could add here like a taxonomy field. To my product, and this is what you gain by having the ability to integrate with Drupal. It depends. It gives you the flexibility. Whatever you want to do with it, it's your own choice. Any further questions?
What was the main problem with Drupal Commerce? Why didn't you use that?
The main problem was, well, when we started the project, we actually had doubts if commerce was going to stay around. So this was started end of 2016, which was about the same time that everyone was questioning if Drupal Commerce was going to be a thing in Drupal 8. This partnership announcement between Acquia and Magento came out at that moment. Everybody was asking what's going to happen here. Finally, I think like last week, Drupal Commerce RC1 came out. So we can start to see that there is now the idea that there will be a stable Drupal Commerce version in Drupal 8. At the time, that didn't seem too sure, but we would have gone with Drupal Commerce anyway if it was not for the main fact that when we started looking at what we need to do here, we need to take care of invoicing and theming the invoices. So a normal Drupal Commerce project, and we looked at the budget that the client had for this, and we simply could not. It's like, no, just designing your Drupal Commerce site is going to eat up all the budget that you have. So we're going to design it, and then we have no budget to implement it. And in this case, it was possible. We reused the same site they had already. The main work was just integrating it like this, which you can see. Okay, we had a few more hours than what I'm showing here, but getting them to the point where we created the products, we synchronized them to Drupal, and they started showing up on their site, took basically nothing. The only part we did was afterwards they started asking, hey, can we change the title? And we were like, apparently not, because it's one of the fields that comes out of Shopify, and the integration doesn't allow it. And then we started considering possibilities of changing the module or going with a content type that's inside Drupal, and it just shows the checkout block, and that's the solution we went out in the end. So in the end, our solution with the client, they still have all these products, but when you actually see the product, most of this is not being shown. So it shows we hide the quantity. You can see the price and the size and the variants, and you can also see this, but they don't fill it. And so out of this, you get this part and the add to cart button as a block that we insert into the product content type that we designed for them. And the rest, there's like paragraphs and paragraphs of description on top and some nice images, which ended up being better, because what you can do to edit something here in Shopify, as you can see, you've got a WYSIWYG editor, but and you can even add images, but it's not the same as using paragraphs, where you are given, at least our team, we did it in a way that's fully responsive. I haven't even tried to see how you can make responsive stuff here. Clearly not image styles. That concept is not there. But the product handling part, which they didn't want to do, they're fully taken care of, and it works. So everyone's happy with that.
Okay, but you would have chosen Drupal Commerce if you would have 3 months and 3 times the same budget, maybe, or what is that?
Probably.
Probably
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. We'd still think, I mean, this is costing them 80 euros per month, and they need to pay a transaction fee of, I think, 0.5%. If people pay with bank transfer, which they do. If you pay with credit card, then they lose, well, even with Drupal Commerce, they would lose around 2% if people pay with credit card. But on the other end, they don't sell enough trainings for that to be really a problem. And the 30 euros per month that they need to pay, even if they pay them for the next 5 years, using commerce would have cost a few thousand euros more. So I think we're okay with that monthly payment. It's just also that it's not their business model. You don't go to a fitness center. Actually, you go and buy some stuff like these nice bottles of for water and the orange juice and whatever. But they're not in the model of selling you things over the internet. Their internet site is which clubs are there, how can I become a member, and that kind of info. The info where, hey, how can I buy a water bottle? That's not there. They don't sell it to you over the internet. So because it's not their main business, there's no business case in having to do a Drupal Commerce site.
I misunderstood the title of the panel a little bit. I was hoping software as a service would relate to the actual product, but so do you know if Shopify supports subscription models, like renting a software, managing a license, stuff like that?
Not out of the box, but there might be apps that would allow you to do that. Out of the box, it's made for selling. I don't see any option.
So it's just physical products.
It can also be downloadable products. It's just I don't see any option for recurring payments. The price part, even in the variants, it's just a fixed. It's just a fixed price field. There's no question on make this repeatable or pay in 24 months or whatever. But on the other end, there's thousands of extensions in the App Store. Maybe one of them supports that there.
There is one for Drupal Commerce. You find this option.
Okay.
Because I had something like that before also. There is lots of modules in Drupal as well for that.
Yeah, with Drupal Commerce, whatever you want, there's several Drupal developer years. We can make it. I'm pretty sure somebody can create a module if it doesn't exist already. So if you would want payments where you follow the Fibonacci sequence that you pay on the first month and the third month and the fifth month, then actually that was not the Fibonacci one. The first month, the second month, the third month, and then the fifth month, and then the eighth month. We could do that also. Good. So thank you for coming.